Welcome to the GSMC Pets Podcast, the show that caters to pet lovers of all kinds. We'll talk about pets on social media, pets doing amazing things, and how to take care of the pets in your life. Whether your pet is a dog, a cat, a llama, hamster, reptile, or something more exotic, you'll find educational and entertaining information on the GSMC Pets Podcast.
GSMC Pets Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Sam, and my co-host is nowhere to be found because I pet him too much while he was trying to nap. So, he is probably hiding in the bathroom or under a chair or something. But, anyway, we're going to move on without him. It'll be weird, but that's okay. And today, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite things, actually, and it's going to be the pit bull. And I wanted to see if there were any interesting facts about them that, hey, I didn't know. I would say, absolutely, there are plenty of facts I don't know about them. And I definitely learned it from this one website, rover.com. And I figured that I should definitely share these facts about, well, one of the most wonderful dogs in the world, pit bulls. And just to kind of start this off, there is a National Pit Bull Day, which is October 24, I believe. Yeah, October 24 this year. So, keep that in mind, my favorite pet pals. And you know what? Let's see if you know as many of these facts I'm about to list to you. And definitely I want to see some reviews on this because I'd love to see what you have to say, or maybe even more information about pit bulls. Anyway, let's get started with the first one. So, let's go ahead and talk about pit bulls as in the breed. And when I say this, I mean that maybe the pit bull that you have isn't necessarily a pit bull. Yeah, kind of weird, right? But here's the deal with this. Now, there are a lot of shelters that have like all kinds of bully dogs, honestly, and they are mostly labeled as pit bulls because they have the traits of it. And the problem is that the American Pit Bull Terrier is the only recognized pit bull breed. But pit bull is a kind of like, an umbrella term, essentially. And it basically covers like a wide array of dogs that have that characteristic, honestly. And, well, characteristics. They have the similar characteristics is what I mean. Now, this is mostly because you have like unregulated breeding standards, and then there are the unfortunate backyard breeding. So it's really hard to say like what exactly is a true pit bull. And, I mean, I guess it's kind of making me wonder, is Regina actually a pit bull, or is she just a bully dog? And we can leave it there. But, I mean, if you look at pit bulls as a whole, they have characteristics, as they say, that are common. But I have a picture of two pit bulls right in front of me right now. One is, has kind of like the build of a Labrador. The other one is kind of like bulkier, if that makes sense. And even looking at my neighbor's dog, his name's Xander, he is a pit bull, but he is a very burly dog. He has a big chest. He's a little overweight, but still very big chest, and it kind of makes me think of like a giant English bulldog, honestly, but with the pit bull face. And, well, he's very much so different from Regina, and I think Regina might be like a little bit at that point where she's starting to look like the dog she will be for the rest of her life. And, well, she's just kind of like a very solidly built kind of dog, and, it's a very light face that she has, but it's a very pit bull face. Anyway, I'm actually at a pit bull rescue site, and what they say here is that the American Pit Bull Terrier is recognized. The American Staffordshire Terrier is also recognized, and then the Staffordshire Bull Terrier is recognized too. But other breeds that have those common features and characteristics, well, and they're kind of put under like the lowercase pit bull area. They're kind of like a bull terrier, American bulldog. Sometimes they're even boxers and mastiff breeds that are kind of mixed together with like dogs and in short coats. So honestly, elitists, I'm quoting this, elitists will say that pit bulls only refers to the American Pit Bull Terrier as recognized by the ADBA or the UKC. So I guess that's really, how can you be elitist about that? That's what I want to know. But I guess it kind of adds in, just the categorizing of pets. Though I don't really know how I feel about that. It kind of makes me think of like, some things that I've studied, like with social justice and everything. I'm not going to get into that, but there's something kind of aligning there, but it's animal, pet form, honestly. Now, this website also gives some myths about pit bulls, and I'll be covering some of these a little bit more in a bit, but there's this locking jaw, or their jaw strength, and basically, pit bulls do not have locking jaws. They actually have very similar jaws to other canines, and, well, it's also very similar in strength to other dogs, which I honestly didn't. I kind of bought into that, I think. But the National Geographic says for sure that it is definitely a myth. There was actually a study where they basically tested between a Rottweiler, a German Shepherd, and a Pit Bull on their bite strength, basically. And, well, the Pit Bull had the least amount of pressure, which also kind of corresponded with the size of him too, because the Pit Bull was is smaller than the Rottweiler and the German Shepherd. So, there's also this very strange taste of blood myth, where people claim that if a Pit Bull tastes blood, then they become vicious. So, well, it's kind of used for all dogs, but this is kind of targeted towards Pit Bulls, and Pit Bulls do not, and other dogs do not become vicious because they taste blood. Many people feed their dogs like diet-based raw food, and these dogs don't turn vicious. They don't. So make sure that, if you are giving them like a raw food, like a bone or like some raw meat, make sure that you actually do your research on that. So there's also this myth about unpredictability, but to be honest, like, no dog breed is inherently unpredictable. And if there is something, where they are unpredictable, then they should probably go to the vet or a behaviorist to see what exactly is going on with the dog. So the really funny thing is that people claim unpredictable for pit bulls, but they are actually nicknamed the nanny dogs. And what this means is that they are stable and tolerant of young children. Like, you shouldn't leave your children or pets unattended. And you know what? Even more so with pit bulls and other dogs, they are actually pretty good with, just overall, they're very good with other dogs. But they do have like an aggressive drive because, they're terrier based. So they have that aggressive drive, and then they also have like a high prey drive for smaller animals. But they overall get along with others. So they can actually reside peacefully with cats, birds, and even bunnies and chickens at times. So it kind of just blows that out of the water. So pit bulls do very well with other animals, and you really want to make sure that to maintain this good relationship that this dog may have with others, just keeping them socialized with other animals, like introduce them properly, and also just kind of keep in mind the terrier breed, the terrier heritage of it. So, I mean, there are also things about strength of a pit bull, and that's also, like, yes, they are very strong dogs, but there are other dogs, too, that are strong breeds. So, again, it goes into German Shepherds, Rottweilers, American Bulldogs, Malamutes, well, all other bigger dogs. Like, they also are very powerful dogs. There's nothing unusual about how strong pit bulls are. There's just, again, these people, I'm not going to say any, specific people, but there are people that insist that there's something powerful and dangerous about these dogs, and that's just a complete horrible lie. And, well, all of these little myths here make me very nervous about the possibility of Regina somehow getting out, and, well, she's a very friendly, very playful dog at this time. She might be read as, dangerous to people because, well, they don't know her, and also she's exhibiting behavior that might cause concern. So, I can't imagine what would happen to Regina. She looks like a pit bull, she acts like a pit bull sometimes, like as in like the nanny kind of breed, but also she's very, very active, so it's not mistaking that she could not be a pit bull. So, honestly, gosh, that is a lot of stuff to know myth-wise about, well, just pit bulls in general. So, I'm going to go on another break, and we are going to be talking about our next point, and it's kind of going to talk about, well, where they're from, and possibly where they are now. Alright, I'm going to let you guys go. Enjoy the break.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
We're back, and, well, let's see, we were just talking about breed and, like, some myths when it comes to pit bulls, and just imagining this is, like, really hard because, well, again, Regina is a pit bull, and I'm not sure if she's, like, an actual pit bull, or if she's just kind of, like, in that category, that general category, but, yeah, just kind of imagining these myths, like, causing people to fear her is very unnerving. And, well, it's also unnerving just kind of learning about how they came to be, honestly. And, well, it had a very, very, very violent kind of beginning. And, well, that was basically, like, them being bred in Great Britain to be, like, brutal and just very powerfully built dogs for fighting. So it looks like they were kind of bred with like bulldogs were like crossed between like a white English terrier or a black and tan terrier, just to have that big looking dog. And the other thing, and this is something that I learned recently, is that they were actually used in blood sports. And blood sports, they're like, it's essentially basically bull and bear baiting for these dogs. So pit bulls would be put into pits, like literal pits, and then they would be fighting like a giant animal for entertainment. Well, not for their entertainment, but for the people's entertainment, which is horrifying. Like, what are you supposed to do with that kind of information? And again, I'm thinking, well, what if people still do that? And then, I don't know, what if Regina gets in that if she escapes us for some reason? And it's just kind of like a very inhumane, very unthinkable kind of thing that happens, or happened. Because, well, it was, like, blood sports were popular, like, as early as the 1200s. And just baiting eventually became illegal in England in, like, the 1800s. But, unfortunately, because they couldn't pit bulls against bulls or bears or any other large animal, they decided to put pit bull against pit bull. And that's why. Why are people so terrible? But again, it's just something that really just fed into this narrative that pit bulls were not good. They were harmful to people, and they would become vicious if they had, the taste of blood. But the reality is that, I don't know, if you looked at many pit bulls today, at least in my neighborhood, they're actually quite nice. They're very sweet, and honestly, they like to nap, but probably the extent of, like, this fighting behavior is kind of seen in just them playing tug of war, honestly. Or, let's see, what else? No, it's tug of war. Regina is obsessed with tug of war, and it's because she gets to bite down really hard, and she gets to kind of pull and fight for the tug, essentially. And I just can't handle this idea that this poor little girl and the rest of her family are seen as strong and fearsome and just dangerous at that point. And did you actually know that the pit bull breed, not even a breed, but pit bulls in general, are banned from certain parts of Florida and definitely in Denver, Great Britain, New Zealand? Yeah, they're not allowed. No one's allowed to have those dogs. And I think they're just missing out, to be honest. But, we're hoping that this will change. There are some changes going on with this breed, and many cities are actually reconsidering this ban. And I just kind of wonder, what other states have these restrictions on pit bulls. I know plenty of apartment complexes when we were living in apartments, they flat out said no pit bulls. And actually, my mother-in-law, she had a sweet pit bull named Sheila. But Sheila was definitely not into cats and stuff. But there were multiple times, when she had to move somewhere, that in her apartment application, she would just put, a Labrador mix. And she even had the vet, their own vet, say, in her paperwork that she was a Labrador mix, so they could actually live somewhere. Because a lot of places don't allow pit bulls because they see it as aggressive and violent and dangerous. And I can't imagine, ever having this issue, but to the point that we now have Regina, it's if we didn't own our own house now, well, we would probably be struggling to find a different apartment for us to live in, because Regina would not be allowed, which is so frustrating because, honestly, Cookie is the jerk. Honestly, one fear that I have is that we will maybe one day take Regina out to I don't know, like a parade or something. And I remember this like very specifically. I was just watching a parade, and they had a veteran walking with his pit bull like down the street in the parade. And there's this woman next to me that, you know, starts yelling about how that's dangerous, because there's like a little kid next to this man and his pit bull, and they're a family, I guess. And this lady just starts calling out and yelling about how that dog is going to hurt the child, and that it's irresponsible for this man to have a child near him when he has a pit bull. And it was infuriating and maddening, because I've known pit bulls for so long, and that dog was just very happy. And just imagining that could possibly be me and Regina in the future, which is horrible. But yeah, and now continuing down my little rabbit hole brain, well, I remember when I was very young and we were watching the news, like in national news, and there was this story about how this family was pulled over, and they had their pit bull in the car with them, and like the family was taken out of the car, including the pit bull, and the officer saw this pit bull like approaching him, wagging its little tail, looking all happy, apparently, and he shoots the dog because he was afraid that the pit bull was going to attack him, or that the family was sicking their pit bull on him. So, that is very upsetting, and I only just now remembered that. So, it kind of makes me want to cuddle Regina a lot right now. But it's horrible. Like, why would someone do that? And this kind of goes into, like, waters that I don't want to tread into, but it just kind of goes into the stigma and stereotyping and just profiling. I'll say that. So there's all of that being put onto the pit bull, like other people, but, well, we just are slowly getting into this acceptance with it. And I think that shows like Pit Bulls and Parolees are really great. Also Kit Bull, the short that I was talking about several episodes ago, like all of those really do help the image of, you know, pit bulls. And you see, I'm seeing more pit bulls on the streets more and more, honestly. And I'm just hoping that this kind of thing continues, and all these wonderful American-looking, tough-looking dogs become parts of everyone's home, pretty much. Well, not everyone's home. Some people are not dog people, and I can respect that. But still, just, can you imagine? This would just... You know, the really sad thing is... I'm sorry, I'm just kind of speechless now because I'm thinking of that news story. I think I was in middle school when that happened. But yeah, I can't believe any of this stuff. And the really frustrating thing is that, well, especially between my husband and I, well, we both kind of view like pit bulls as a very American looking dog. It's like that's, whenever we think about dog, we usually think of the image pit bull. Because, well, they're very standard looking, like in I don't want to say standard looking, because then I start thinking of like standard poodles, and then also the strict, breed descriptions, and just the standard of a dog and what they should be is all very frustrating on that end. But yeah, they just, for us, you look at that dog and you think, oh, that is a dog. You know it's a dog. And it is just something that we kind of think about whenever we see Regina, actually. Because, well, name another dog that makes you think dog, aside from golden retrievers. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. We're not talking about golden retriever. But we will definitely talk more about the pit bull and how it has grown as an icon for America. We'll be right back after this commercial break, though, so hang tight.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Howdy, and we are back. We were just talking about pit bulls, how they got their name, and just where they came from in general, and just how frustrating these myths just fed into what people started to think of pit bulls. But here is the thing. Well, pit bulls were actually, as I mentioned, they were seen as nanny dogs, and people would sometimes even leave their kids, like a long time ago, with their pit bulls when the rest of the family needed to go out and work in the fields, or they were just not home. So that takes a lot of trust, actually, and I can't even imagine it. There are pictures online too that you can look up of pit bulls and kids from decades, centuries ago. Well, century as in oh man. Time is a very long thing. But yeah, probably one of the earliest heroes, American heroes, was a dog named Bud, who actually accompanied his owner, Horatio Nelson Jackson, on the first cross-country road trip in 1903. So they actually have pictures, again, more pictures, of Bud, the pit bull, and he actually wears goggles in these pictures that he just kind of wore with his owner. But those goggles are actually on display at the National Smithsonian today. And, well, he became the face of the auto era. So they're actually advertising, flyers and all that kind of stuff that you can see on the internet, pretty much. Man, I'm looking at one, let's see, the Winton Motor Carriage Company is one of the advertisements that they have for them. So I think that's pretty nifty, and this doesn't even end. During World War I and World War II, pit bulls were actually the advertising, they were used as advertisement, and they were known as the national mascot, which is pretty nifty. It was basically a sign of fearlessness and protection, and apparently in some earlier ads, neutrality. But they became quite popular because of these ads, and, they kind of included pit bulls dressed as an American military symbol, and kind of put into this general category of German Mastiffs and French Bulldogs, representing different countries. So I can't remember who was the dachshund, but I think it was the English Bulldog that was for, of course, Great Britain at the time. But yeah, there's a huge bit of dogs that would kind of be a symbol for different nations during this time period, and would be kind of hey, you want to be American like this pit bull? No, I'm really not sure how that goes. But yeah, they were used during wartime, and they were actually the first dogs or some of the first dogs, like, that were used for American wartime. And, well, let's see. Sergeant Stubby, wow, is one of the most well-known war dogs. Originally a stray with a stubbed tail found near an army training camp at Yale, Stubby was taken in and trained to respond to bugle calls, march with troops, and even salute fellow soldiers. Aw, we're trying to teach Regina how to pay the toll, and I can imagine her, leveling up to, saluting. That'd be so cute. But anyway, his owner smuggled him overseas to fight in World War I, and he served 18 months on the front lines in 17 battles and 4 different campaigns. I can't think of a dog that is more American than this, actually, now. I am like floored by this. I need to share this with my husband and everyone else on Facebook, Twitter, and no, Instagram won't work. But I could at least, include one of the pictures for their advertisements. That'd be pretty nifty. But, moving on, there are, countless stories of them being, heroes. So Stubby was known for distinguishing the American soldiers and their enemies when they were getting to fight comrades, getting his comrades to help. And then they would carry messages while under fire, which is intense. And they would also be good at detecting incoming attacks of mustard gas and alerting the humans. And, well, I have to say, that is an extremely heroic thing, being able to detect mustard gas, because that was horrifying. But, yeah, let's see, Stubby even sniffed out a German spy, bit him on the butt, and held on until a human help arrived. Oh my gosh. I want Regina to marry Stubby. But, yes, there is a fantastic picture of Sergeant Stubby, and he's wearing, his jacket, and he has all these medals on him. It is so cute. It is amazing. But he's just one example out of many other pit bulls that kind of date back to the Civil War and beyond, where they served for their country. And Bud, the one that did the cross-country trip, he is the only one of the prominent pit bull types in history of advertising and entertainment during the early 20th century. After all of this, you then see, Petey from the Little Rascals, and you continue to see the great thing with pit bulls and just being a part of American culture. But unfortunately, we start seeing the dogfighting just start giving rise in America, starting in the 1960s, 70s, and then it notes here particularly the 80s. So 1980s is where basically you start seeing pit bulls wearing these spiked collars on the street corners, and they a natural fear just kind of came out of this, which is horrifying. But to ignore the part of history where the pit bulls were actually American heroes and great for advertising to really stir up patriotism. I mean, come on. Just always look to the pit bull, I guess. But all of that was pretty much ruined because of this demonization and, negative portrayal that the media was giving it. And, well, there are definitely some other things that caused this. And, well, it's just kind of looking at this social situation going on with America over the years, where you start seeing certain types of animals kind of in different areas, but you would see pit bulls in lower income areas. And, well, I'll stop there. But you started seeing them in specific locations. And then, of course, as I said, there started to be breed restrictions in apartments in cities, and again Great Britain and New Zealand. Those are those are the places that really started sticking this negative thing to pit bulls. But let's see. Oh, the first recorded city to pass a breed-specific law was Hollywood, Florida in 1980. And then, of course, you see basically Sports Illustrated, Beware of this Dog, and it has a picture of a pit bull that has his teeth bared, and he's just barking, and you can tell it's a very intense bark. But then you then look at 2008 Best Sports Year Ever for Sports Illustrated, and let's see, it says Vic's Dogs, the good news out of the bad news kennels. And it has a cute little pit bull just kind of staring curiously at you. So there's so much going on here, like so much classism and so much social issues going on, kind of circulating the pit bull, which leaves it to be a very interesting thing to study when it comes to academia. But again, I'm going to start going all nerd and stuff, and I don't really want to do that. But yeah, just kind of looking at these different images of a pit bull, like between like 1980s and now, you see a lot more acceptance, but you still do see like the unfortunate individual that will still have that stigma attached to pit bulls, which is, again, unfortunate. And hopefully, as time goes by, we'll be able to see it, change, because it has a great history, and it seems like people have kind of forgotten that. And we just kind of need to bring it back into the forefront and remember what they truly are for the American people. I mean, Virginia's probably going to get tons of cuddles and treats now, actually. Not that I'm learning more and more about pit bulls. It's just kind of amazing. But we are going to take a break, and we are now going to be talking about, a more positive side that is being shown today for the pit bull. So we'll be back after this commercial break.
Is weird, odd, strange, or just plain bizarre is really your cup of tea? Then the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast will give you that fix. Can't believe it? Well, listen for yourself as we deliver the strangest news.
We are back, and we were talking about, the history of pit bulls particularly in the American 20th century. And, we're going to talk about this new thing, this new image that has become the pit bull now. And this mostly started after the Michael Vick case in 2007, but, and that's a horrible thing, but it did kind of bring forth just the idea of how dogs rescued from fighting rings are actually treated. So, sure, they were seen as, unable to be rehabilitated. So, there were several groups that kind of lobbied to take a chance at working with pit bulls. And most of the dogs, actually, from Michael Vick's case, actually lived on to find beautiful homes and it's spending time with other pets and children. It was kind of going back to that original American dog kind of deal. Oh wait, and there is definitely more here. So there's been a big movement of breed specific legislation, which was basically, you can't have the pit bull because it's dangerous. Well, apparently Arizona, most recently became the 20th state to ban breed-specific legislation. And there have been some setbacks with some Canadian cities starting this trend, but at least we got it on track. But yeah, in the present day, you actually see pit bulls being trained to be service animals all the time, it seems like. But let's see. I'm going to quote this. Search and rescue pitties, Cheyenne, Dakota, and Tahoe were involved in missions for 9/11 at the World Trade Center and Pentagon. Let's see. Also the 2003 shuttle disaster for NASA, the Lacey Peterson investigation, and many other high-profile cases. Wow. So they also were certified for therapy dogs, and they, like, pit bulls in general, I'm saying now. Pit bulls also work in educational groups to teach people more about dogs. And just the amount of pit bull rescues has really just kind of grown, and they're even being trained to work on police forces now, which has really shown where this breed has kind of gone at this point. So they are also, and I love this, they're becoming certified to visit hospitals so that they can provide comfort to people. This is all because they're so trainable and sensitive and very loving animals. So it's just, what can't they do, right? So a lot of it is just, giving this dog a chance. Like, all other dogs have been given a chance. The pit bull was just given the short end of the stick here, just kind of thinking about, well, what can we do with them? They're a fighting dog. And, honestly, the story of, just kind of the history and present day story of the pit bull would actually be really great for just kids to know, especially in lessons of don't judge a book by its cover, essentially. And when you look at pit bulls, well, aside from when they're actually doing their big old smile that I love so much, they're actually presented as very intimidating dogs, at least in media before the entire Michael Vick case, I suppose. But overall, I just kind of think that it's been a great past decade, 2 decades now for the pit bull. And speaking of, just therapy dogs, I would say for sure that once we are able to finish up training for Regina, and there's never really an end to it, but I would really like to see if I can get her certified as a therapy dog because, well, she is such a loving and sweet dog. And, well, when she's not rambunctious, because she's still a puppy, well, she can be very, very calm. Kind of just depends on the wave of activity that she has. But I'm pretty sure she could actually do it. She's like a pit bull. She is very trainable. She's very sensitive and very loving. And just those qualities I see in her will be really great to have. I can't bring her into my classroom, unfortunately, because, dogs aren't allowed, and I don't think our director at our school would really appreciate that. But she also likes barking so much, so there's that. Anyway, I do think that for a lot of the dogs that were rehabilitated from Michael Vick's little compound thing, they have a wonderful, happy life, and that's great. And even after all that, there was a 2008 article from Sports Illustrated that basically kind of did a pivot from where they originally had said that pit bulls were dangerous and violent and that they couldn't be rehabilitated if they were once a fighting dog. So, yeah, there's been a lot of changes in that kind of talk. And just kind of thinking about, it took it was 1987 to 2008 that they had this change, and they basically kind of apologized for really pushing that image on the pit bull. And I just kind of want to talk about another pit bull that I know. Well, not really know, but a pit bull that I follow a lot on TikTok, and his name is Tatum. And he was a rescue, and he's about, I think, 4 or 5 at this point. But just a lot of people follow him. He's adorable. They do like a voiceover for him, just kind of showing how sweet and innocent he is. And it's just kind of really reinforcing this positive image of what pit bulls are and, well, what they have been versus this ugly history that they had. And I would definitely say go check out Tatum. Very adorable. He actually had some posts recently that showed his glow up from being a rescue dog to being a happy, healthy dog that actually had meat on his bones. But all of this is all a cute storytelling. He has a great family with him. And, well, it's just a reminder that, hey, pit bulls are great. You just gotta give them a chance. And that's kind of what I said a little earlier. But still, can you imagine, like, what if dog fights were still going, well, they're probably still going on, but still widely happening? Or even like those bull or bear fights happening. I mean, that's kind of a terrifying thing. And like, just from the perspective of Regina, being Regina's mom, that sweet girl I just don't see her really doing anything that could be anywhere near dog fighting, to be honest. But the world is a very strange place, and I'm not naive. I know that there's still dog fights happening, and, well, also rat fights, too. They could happen. And that's basically like pit bulls against rats and stuff. But yeah, just in different countries, it could still be a really big thing. And, like, for instance, cockfighting is still happening in different countries all over the world. But there is progress, and that's a lot more than, well, I guess that's the basic part of what is happening here. I wish there would be more of an effort here, but let's see, when was this article posted? That's what I want to know, because based on that, we'll see. So I was saying that it was, okay, so this came out 4 years ago, so surely there's been a lot more movement when it comes to really helping the pit bull image. And just, I'm looking at the headline for this, and it says, How America's Dog Became Public Enemy #1, and why they're making such a comeback. So, this is great. This is a great approach to really showing what a pit bull can be, because the writer covers a lot, and apparently she's a dog trainer in New York City. So, I'm not saying that all dog trainers are really good, but, I mean, they are at least aware of a lot of behavioral and training techniques that kind of go into raising your dog and really combating this hatred or this simmering. Now, it's not really it's not like pure hatred anymore, but it's good to see someone like really reporting on that kind of stuff, like, you know, how the pit bull has grown. And I just want to end this segment on one note here. So the pit bull, as we've already kind of established here, is not inherently aggressive. And in fact, in temperance tests, they were actually the most tolerant breed behind golden retrievers. And, you know, you want to know what the least tolerant was? The Chihuahua. So, I will joke, and this is a joke. I'll go ahead and say I've never met a nice Chihuahua. And I'll leave it at that. Oh, wait, except for one of my coworkers, and his name is Mitchell, a real sweetheart. But anyway, we are going to take another break, and, well, what are we going to talk about then? Why not the story of a doggo in 1994 who really helped the pit bull image? We'll be right back after this commercial break, and you will find out who this dog is.
the Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast, the show that gives you advice on everything travel. We explore places you've always wanted to go, as well as giving tips for traveling in those places. We'll give you advice on the best sites for travel tips, information, and discounts. Join us as we travel the world, explore cultures, and meet new people. The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast has got you covered. Download the GSMC Travel Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome, and welcome back. We were just talking about the present-day pit bull and how far it has come since its really bad image around the 80s. So, let's talk about a pit bull that actually was a really great part of helping this image of the pit bull. And her name is Wheeler. So, basically, the efforts and the advertising going towards really improving the public image of the pit bull really does not compare to what this dog did. And here is the story. So, Wheeler, a fantastic pit bull for a really big reason. So, in January 1993, there was a terrible storm, heavy rains were just beating down in this area. And, well, unfortunately, this, caused the dam in this area to break, upstream on the Tawana River. So, this stream would normally be about 3 foot. Yeah, about 3 feet. And, well, I'm gonna quote, Doc's heroics began at a ranch that belonged to a friend of her owners, Lori and Daniel Watkins. So, the entire family, basically Wheeler and the Watkins, worked for 6 hours, and they were battling this heavy rain. And you can imagine strong currents from this rain and this broken dam just kind of flowing at you. And then of course there's going to be debris coming at you too. But they managed to reach the ranch of their friends and rescue their 12 dogs, which sounds amazing. That is a tough dog. Wheeler is really tough. Girl power, come on. But she was willing to, this is a quote, she was willing to put herself in dangerous situations, and she always took the lead except to circle back to see if somebody needed help, or if somebody needed help. So, just, wow. This is, kind of makes me think of, wolf packs. I had seen, an image, a meme, I don't know if it's true or not, but just how wolf packs would be divided into different sections, and basically the leader was in the very back protecting everyone else, but for the most part the younger dogs would also be in the front. So it was a very interesting kind of dynamic there, and just kind of seeing how basically this dog, Wheeler, was able to kind of take part in both ways. And she was essentially a very big help to these people. So apparently too, and this is the definition of this dangerous stuff, there was Wheeler's ability to cope with quicksand, drop-offs, and mud bogs. So it's 1994 when this was written, and I really wish that I had known Wheeler. And I wish I had been alive to hear this. Well, I was alive. Oh my god. Oh, no, I wasn't alive. Just kidding. Okay. So, over an entire month, Wheeler was, crossing this river and bringing food to 17 dogs and puppies and also a cat. All of them were stranded on some on an island, like within the area. And like each trip, which is amazing, she pulled like 30 to 50 pounds of dog food that had been loaded into like a harnessed backpack. So these animals were eventually evacuated, and this is like in mid-February, but like all of that work, 65-pound dog, I wish I could see a picture of her. She's much bigger than Regina by like 50, no, not even much bigger, like 10 pounds or something like that. And she was able to do that. I'm thinking now about Regina. Could she do that? I almost say yes right now. There's this one time that Regina kind of skull bashed my knee, and she was perfectly fine. So, my knee really did hurt though. But she acted like she was perfectly fine. But yeah, just that brute strength they have. I don't want to say brute strength, but just the power that she had and her ability to really help and bring that dog food and cat food and just carry it all is amazing. But she had led like a rescue team for 13 horses too that were stranded on a large manure pile. Oh my gosh! And they were completely surrounded by floodwaters. They were able to save every single one of those horses and put them on safe ground. Again, why haven't we heard about this dog? That's what I want to know. So, there are other people that she had met too, and this was like 30 people, I guess, attempting to cross like the moving water. And let me quote this again, I'm sorry. Barking and running back and forth, Wheeler refused to allow them to cross at that point where the waters ran deep and fast. She led them to a shallower crossing upstream where they safely crossed. I'm thinking, what? This dog is amazing. Is there like some show that we should watch about Wheeler, or make a short story about Wheeler? I don't know. But still, she is definitely a hero, and I think, where did she get, she must have gotten something for this. I believe she did get some kind of award, and I think she was like a hero dog award. Can't find it in particular, but yeah, I can't even imagine like how strong this dog is. I want to look for a picture, but I'm gonna refrain from it because I will just kind of lose it. But yeah, all of this is an amazing leap for pit bulls. And let's see, she was actually named the 40th winner of the prestigious Kennel Ration Dog Hero of the Year award. So that is okay. She definitely gets what she deserves, and I honestly wish still that there was more. She's like an icon for pit bulls, like, include Bud and Stumpy, Stubby, Bud and Stubby and Wheeler as the heroes of the pit bull, I would say. And it's just so amazing. However, there are some there's one very problematic thing about this article. It definitely shows Wheeler to be a great dog, but then it turns around and starts talking about, breeding pit bulls. And I always find it kind of difficult to swallow, just because, while it's nice that they're recognized by kennel clubs and stuff, and they have ways, the ideal standard dog, which is, kind of not really there. Why would you go to a breeder when there's plenty of pit bulls, in shelters already? And even so, this article kind of hints at the possibility of pit bulls in shelters being possibly dangerous. Because, I don't know, they're showing here that any pit bull with a biting record, or any that has shown a propensity for aggressiveness, they're not going to be releasing any of those dogs. But just even the suggestion of that, I mean, it really sticks in a person's mind. It's like, okay, well, what if I get the pit bull that they overlooked or something like that? Like, the shelter director that is referenced here, like, she does insist that they have placed many wonderful pit bulls. But she also adds, this isn't a breed for everyone. So there's a little bit of push and pull in this, where there are some things that are problematic, and then there are other really good things about pit bulls. Like, they talk throughout, well, they kind of like quote some individuals that say that, you know, pit bulls are happy, lighthearted, and honest. And apparently the UKC calls it like a courageous and strong breed with an infectious love of life. But again, I just kind of find it frustrating that they still kind of like talk about pit bulls and violence, if that makes any sense. But overall, I'll go ahead and say that it does end on a very good note, and it quotes an old English proverb that they claim couldn't apply to any other breed other than the dog American Pit Bull Terrier. And it is, give a dog a bad name and hang him. The virtues of the dog are his own, his vices, those of his master. So, I'm going to leave you with that for the commercial. And, well, what am I going to talk about this time? What about if I look up, like, what kind of zodiac sign Eisen is, and then talk about how or how not this fits him. So, we'll be back after this commercial break.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now, don't bother, what's hot on Netflix, and everything in between. That's GSMCpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
We are going to close on something kind of goofy. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not really into the entire horoscope, animal, zodiac kind of deal, astrology, whatever. I mean, but it is kind of interesting to apply it to your animals, and I know this is supposed to be just for humans, but, well, Eisen's basically human. So, he is actually an Aquarius. He was born, well, his birthday is February 2nd, and we're going to stick with that. And he's overall compatible with a Leo and Sagittarius. Aha, guess who's a Sagittarius? I am. So, let's see. I would have to say that this is going to be kind of weird, to be honest, but I'm just going to start randomly in like a paragraph. So, or, you know what, let's talk about strengths. Progressive, original, independent, humanitarian. I would definitely say that Eisen is very original, and he's very independent. Progressive, well, Eisen hates drugs, so he doesn't believe in any kind of like recreational use of drugs or anything like that. So he's kind of conservative in that way. But let's see. Weaknesses. He runs from emotional expression temperamental, compromising, aloof. Who's my aloof little man? Sorry, I'm petting him, and he's tolerating me. But yeah, so Aquarius likes, let's see, fun with friends, no. Helping others, no. Fighting for causes, for food, yes. Intellectual conversation, you should definitely check out his slow blinks. It's amazing. And let's see, a good listener. Actually, that's very true. He is usually there to walk up to you and cuddle you and just let you kind of talk to him, especially when you're not feeling well. So his limitations, well, his dislikes are limitations. So, for instance, Eisen does not like doors to be closed on him. He also does not like broken promises because, well, kind of going back to, well, what about his food? When is he going to have his food? And usually the routine is the broken promise. But then there's also being lonely. Yeah, poor guy. He does not like being lonely. He honestly does like dull or boring situations because, well, he's a cat. He just wants to nap and stuff. And, he doesn't like people who disagree with him. So, yes. Because currently, right now, I am basically saying that no, he's not going to have food right now. But now he's just very upset with me and is insisting that I listen to him. But anyway, Aquarius born are shy and quiet, but on the other hand, they can be eccentric and energetic. However, in both cases, they are deep thinkers and highly intellectual people who love helping people. They are able to see without prejudice on both sides, which makes them people who can easily solve problems. Yes, yes, and yes. Let's see. Although they can easily adapt to the energy that surrounds them, Aquarius born have a deep need to be some of the time alone and away from everything in order to restore power. People born under the Aquarius sign look at the world as a place full of possibilities. And oh my gosh, that is Eisen to a T. I mean, seriously, Eisen likes to be alone, but he also likes to be near people and just kind of like an introvert in this way where he will definitely go out and interact with individuals. Well, mostly individuals like myself and my husband. And sometimes she'll try with Regina or Cookie. Actually, he. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Eisen. I don't know if you have any problems with me gendering you, and honestly. But, yeah, he really does need, like, restoration time, pretty much. And there are other things. So, Aquarius is apparently an air sign. And I guess this is really big for them. They use their mind at every opportunity. If there is no mental stimulation, they are bored and lack a motivation to achieve the best result. Yes, that is Eisen for sure. Whenever he's bored, he just kind of lounges about. Sometimes he gets irritable, but he does, for the most part, like when he's playing, like one of our little dancers, pretty much. He will play with it until he is bored, but he'll still kind of play because he still wants to play. So, like, we're basically using a feather trying to get his attention. He jumps around for maybe like 2 minutes, then he lies down, and we try to get him to, get moving again, but then he just kind of lays about and kind of bats around at the air, just so he has the image of playing, I guess. But there are also other things with Aquarius, and that is, well, its ruling planet apparently is Uranus, and, well, it says here that they have a timid, abrupt, and sometimes aggressive nature. Eisen. But it also gives Aquarius a visionary quality. So they are capable of perceiving the future, and they know exactly what they want to be doing 5 or 10 years down from now. So we'll cut out that last part and say that most definitely he, at least for this most part, like, he is definitely timid when it comes to new people, and, well, he can suddenly change his attitude very, very fast, and, well, it kind of, like, comes out in a little bit of aggression, like, he maybe gets tired of being pet, so he might kind of start scratching or biting so we can leave him alone, pretty much. So I guess that works. And then, let's see, Uranus also gave them the power of quick and easy transformation, so they are known as thinkers, progressives, and humanists. They feel good in a group or a community, so they constantly strive to be surrounded by other people. Well, only his pack, honestly. So he strives to have my attention and my husband's attention. Any more than that, well, you gotta work for it. But, like, the biggest problem for Aquarius is the feeling that they are limited or constrained. Because of this desire for freedom and equality for all, they will strive to ensure freedom of speech and movement. Aquarius-born have a reputation for being cold and insensitive, but this is just their defense mechanism against premature intimacy. They need to learn to trust others and express their emotions in a healthy way. Eisen, I think that's totally you right now, that last paragraph. 'Cause, well, you just seem like you are getting tired of staying in your bachelor pad for so long. I would imagine, I'd probably go crazy too. And, well, he likes freedom, and I'm not going to say equality for all, but he definitely wants to make sure that he can eat when he wants wants to go outside if he wants, which we haven't let him, because, guys, don't let your cats be outside cats. And, well, he does tend to be cold and insensitive when he doesn't know someone. I mean, that's reasonable because, well, big strange people coming into his area, that's kind of a scary thing, and they're kind of encroaching on his territory, so I can understand that. Now, when it comes to just trusting others and expressing emotions in a healthy way, well, honestly, it's kind of lost on Cat. That is something that cats generally are. But, yeah, for Eisen in particular, he does eventually warm up to a person, and he is extremely loving to other individuals. But, honestly, I'm trying to think. Do I agree with this? Generally, yes. And I'll go ahead and say that the Aquarius zodiac sign basically has their day where that's really good for them, and that is Saturday. And I always say, okay, that makes sense because Catter Day, which I need to kind of take part of in future Saturdays, because I am bored in the house and I'm in the house bored. So let's see what next about this little guy. Kind of want to talk about this independence thing a little bit more, and I'll just tell a story about Eisen. So he liked to go out a lot when he was younger. He would sneak out and, or he'd run off in frustration, and he would always come back with some kind of battle scar or even being found in a pack of other cats and being the boss of them. It's pretty amazing. He shows that he's a natural leader, and he can definitely make do on his own, pretty much. And I guess he does like fun with friends, I guess, when you put it that way. But anyway, I'm probably going to try to see if I can do this for Regina and Cookie, because apparently the both of them are, what are they? I forget what they are. But maybe for Rhodey, because he's a Gemini, and I have a feeling he's very much so a Gemini. But anyway, thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Pets Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. And, well, we would love it if you subscribed and reviewed our episodes, and also to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, because, well, we have all these interesting pictures that we post of our cats, and then just random stories that we find online that could, be of interest. So, thank you so much, and you have a wonderful night.
You've been listening to the GSMC Pets Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all of the shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, from business news to weird news. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's podcast.